The canvas stretches before us, imposing and unsettling, measuring nearly 2 meters in height. Within its frame lies one of the most provocative religious paintings ever created, a work so controversial that it challenged everything the 19th century art world believed about depicting the divine. The figure you see is not a demon with horns and claws, nor the monstrous beast that medieval artists love to paint. Instead, what Alexandre Cabanel gave us in 1847 was something far more dangerous, a beautiful, heartbroken angel whose only crime was wanting more than what heaven could offer. This is the fallen angel, and from the moment it was first exhibited, it sparked debates that continue to this day. Critics were divided. Some called it a masterpiece of emotional depth. Others condemned it as blasphemous, arguing that no artist should dare make the devil so achingly human, so impossibly beautiful. But here's what makes this painting truly extraordinary. Cabanel was only 24 years old when he painted it. A young man, barely out of his student years at the French Academy in Rome, managed to create an image so powerful that it would define how we visualize fallen angels for generations to come. Look closely at the composition, and you'll notice something remarkable. The traditional imagery of damnation, fire, brimstone, grotesque transformations is completely absent. Instead, Cabanel presents us with a figure of classical perfection, his nude form reminiscent of ancient Greek sculpture. The body is youthful, idealized, untouched by corruption. Yet something is profoundly wrong with this picture of perfection. The angel's pose tells the entire story. He reclines not in triumph, but in exhaustion. His hands clasped together in a gesture that hovers between desperate prayer and barely contained rage. Most striking of all is his face, partially hidden behind his arm, forcing us to interpret his emotion through subtle details. A single tear catches the light on his cheek, glistening like a diamond against his pale skin. Above him, barely visible in the ethereal brightness, other angels soar in perfect formation. They remain faceless, anonymous, representing the collective harmony of divine order. Their unity makes the fallen angel's isolation all the more painful to witness. He alone bears the burden of individual consciousness, of questioning, of wanting something beyond blind obedience. Cabanel's use of light transforms this biblical scene into pure psychological drama. The heavenly angels dissolve into brilliant whiteness, their forms barely distinguishable from the divine radiance that surrounds them. But our protagonist exists in a different realm entirely, caught between light and shadow, neither fully illuminated nor completely consumed by darkness. Notice how Cabanel paints the wings. Near the shoulders, the feathers catch the light in pale tones, soft whites mixed with hints of blue and green. But as they extend downward, the palette steadily darkens. The colours shift into deeper blues, then into shadowy navy, until the lower edges are almost black. It's a visual descent that mirrors the angel's own fall. This isn't just artistic technique, it's visual storytelling. We're witnessing the very moment of transformation, the precise instant when purity becomes corruption. Look at how Cabanel handles the light. His body is still largely illuminated, but his face tells another story. One side shines in full light, the other is swallowed in shadow, the effect heightened by the way his arms block the glow. His hands are clasped tightly, almost in prayer, yet it isn't the prayer of peace, but of someone caught between humiliation and rage. It's as if he's ashamed of his fall, but too proud, too defiant to accept it fully. What makes this image so unsettling is how Cabanel refuses to let us simply condemn this figure. The traditional narrative would have us see Lucifer's fall as justice served, pride meeting its inevitable punishment. But this painting complicates that reading entirely. Instead of presenting us with a monster deserving of our hatred, Cabanel forces us to confront something far more complex, a being whose beauty remains intact even in his moment of ultimate defeat. This is perhaps what made the painting so controversial when it first appeared. Audiences expected to see evil punished, transformed into something hideous that would confirm their moral certainties. Instead, they found themselves face to face with a figure who looked more like a grieving lover than a cosmic villain. The technique itself reveals Cabanel's extraordinary skill with oil paint. Every surface seems to breathe with life. The translucent quality of the skin, the way light catches on the moisture of that single tear, the subtle gradations that transform white feathers into instruments of darkness. This isn't merely technical virtuosity on display, it's technique serving a deeper emotional purpose. Look at how he handles the transition between the celestial realm above and the earthly domain below. The upper portion of the canvas dissolves into pure luminosity, where individual forms become indistinguishable from divine radiance. But as your eye descends, details sharpen, shadows deepen, and the harsh reality of exile becomes undeniable. We're witnessing two different worlds within the same frame, the world of collective harmony that the fallen angel has lost, and the world of individual suffering that he must now inhabit. Near his feet, almost hidden in the shadows, lies a detail that many viewers miss on first glance, a thorny vine that seems to snake around his legs. This isn't merely decorative. In Christian symbolism, thorns represent the consequences of sin, the price of knowledge, the inevitable suffering that comes with choosing one's own path. Yet even this symbol carries ambiguity. Are these thorns binding him to his punishment, or are they simply the natural consequence of existing outside paradise? The more time you spend with this painting, the more questions it raises about the nature of rebellion itself. Was this angel's fall a tragedy or a necessity? Can true consciousness exist without the possibility of dissent? Cabanel seems to suggest that the very qualities that made this being beautiful, his intelligence, his individuality, his capacity for choice, were also what doomed him to exile. This reading transforms the painting from a simple, religious allegory into something far more profound, a meditation on the cost of free will. The tears we see aren't just tears of regret, they're tears of recognition. This is a being who understands exactly what he has lost and exactly why he chose to lose it. The knowledge makes his grief all the more devastating to witness. What's remarkable is how Cabanel manages to make us complicit in this angel's story. By refusing to make him monstrous, by preserving his beauty even in his moment of greatest defeat, the artist forces us to acknowledge our own capacity for rebellion, our own willingness to choose knowledge over innocence, understanding over blind faith. We see ourselves in this fallen figure, and perhaps that's the most unsettling thing of all. The painting's power lies not in providing answers, but in complicating every assumption we might have about good and evil, obedience and rebellion, the price of consciousness itself. This is why, more than a century and a half after its creation, Cabanel's Fallen Angel continues to captivate and disturb viewers in equal measure. Here was a 24-year-old artist who dared to reimagine the ultimate symbol of evil, not as a monster, but as a tragic figure whose beauty survived even his ultimate defeat.